Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Abigail if you're new, and I'm on a feeding tube full time, and I have special needs. So today's video, I wanted to kind of give some what's the word? I guess a little bit more information about my birth defect, some things I know about it, because people were commenting that they wanted to know some more things about my birth defect and how it affects me, and they find it interesting, so that's what today's video is going to be. So, CDH stands for congenital diaphragmatic hernia. A lot of people call it CDH because it's easier to say, but it's called congenital diaphragmatic hernia, and basically that means that I was born with a hole in my diaphragm, and that made some of my insides go to the wrong spot, like my stomach, then I think it was my liver and spleen or something like that. So my birth defect ranges from mild to severe. People can have my birth defect and not have developmental delays. People can have my birth defect and have developmental delays. I personally have mild developmental delays, so I am 24, and I would say I'm mentally probably about maybe about 12 or so, something like that. But I am in the category of people severely affected that have delays. As a child, my life was pretty normal. I've always been small, but I was able to eat like normal. I've never been able to eat a ton of food. Even as a child, or even after I got a little older, like a teenager, I could eat like a kid-sized meal and be full because I've always just been a really small person. And then whenever I was really little, like let's just say like 7 or so, I would eat like maybe about like half of a kid's meal and be full. So I've never eaten like a ton of food at once because I can't eat that much. But now that I'm older, I do deal with things now that I didn't deal with as a kid. Like, I didn't have health issues as a kid. I was on a feeding tube as a baby, but I got off of it when I was around a year old because I was eating enough by mouth by then. And then, trying to think of some other facts. I obviously do have scars from my surgery. from my repair surgery of putting my insides back in the right spot. Um, Thankfully, the repair surgery I had as a baby did stay, but then after um, I was it was a few years ago. I started having health issues again and found out that I had a hernia again. So we tried to fix that hernia, and that's when my I'm trying to think. My nerve got hit. My nerve in my stomach got hit, and that caused gastroparesis a few years ago, which is partially paralyzed stomach. So then I was able to eat by mouth then, but basically, I was put on this special diet, and I was eating like a toddler-sized meal like every other hour that I was hungry. And then it got to the point where I got really, really sick again, and basically we found out my hernia came back. And at that point, I couldn't hold down hardly anything besides protein shakes and liquids. So I was eating like once a day, and I would get sick like shortly after, maybe like 30 minutes after. And because we couldn't fix my hernia again, because at this point I had a hernia and a partially paralyzed stomach, so I was having issues from both. And then we went to the doctor, and they were like, hey, you need a feeding tube, because I started losing a lot of weight because I was not keeping a lot down. So about a year ago, I got put on a feeding tube, and I've gained good weight from that. I do have a J tube that goes to my intestines. That's how I get fed, but I can have certain kinds of candy and certain kinds of like ice cream and liquids by mouth, and I vent them out of my G tube. So it's kind of like getting sick, but instead of getting sick by mouth, I get sick out of my tube, so I don't have to worry about losing weight. My vision issues aren't from my disability. I just happen to have a lazy eye. I've had a lazy eye since I was like a year old, and I've actually wore glasses since I was a year old, even though I didn't really keep my glasses on the best as a child. But I've worn glasses for basically as long as I can remember. It has nothing to do with my disability. It's just I just happen to have vision issues as well. So my birth defect affects my size. It affects like my development because I do have developmental delays, like I said. Also, people with my birth defect are often more on the smaller side. As a 24-year-old, I am like 130 pounds. Because I am tube fed, that is like from healthy calories and stuff, but still, people with my birth defect are often not overweight. I can just say that. Most people, if they were born with like a hole in their diaphragm, like I was, a lot of people stay more on the smaller side. Now, obviously, they can get bigger. Like, whenever I got put on my feeding tube, I did gain weight. But most people with my birth defect often don't get like they usually stay more on the smaller side. So anyways, those are some facts about me. I know that some people wanted some facts, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you to all the new subscribers. If you're new, be sure that you do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.